Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking the video out today. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. So before we dive into these topics, do me a favor, if you do end up enjoying the video or finding it informative, be sure to leave it a like. And if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. Now the first topic is essentially Sony confirming a recent leak. We've been talking about some new hardware that Sony is apparently set to announce at the end of this month, and they seemingly confirmed all the rumors we've been hearing up to this point. But we also have a bit of a follow-up from the original leaker, being Tom Henderson, letting us know something that I think is pretty important regarding this. I guess it's an event. I don't necessarily know that it's an event, but it looks like it's going to be some type of video that's going to be streamed, kind of revealing this new hardware. And so if we go over to the official Sony UK Twitter, they say find your new zone, where they link a video, and it's going to be happening on June 28th. And they make it clear that they are set to reveal new hardware. Now, Tom Henderson confirms that, yeah, this is the new in-zone line of headsets, which there are going to be 3 as we covered yesterday, as well as 2 monitors. And something that I think becomes pretty clear with this is that this is not so much a PlayStation thing as much as it's just a Sony thing in general. But I do think it is worth pointing out that with these 2 monitors, they're going to be putting emphasis on how they're perfect for PS5, which makes sense that they would want to do that. And if you look at the color of the leaked headsets, they're also following the two-tone color of the PS5. So it looks like they're kind of going for an in-between thing here, where it's like this is not necessarily just a PlayStation thing, but they definitely want it to appeal to their PlayStation audience. Tom Henderson gives us an update where he says the PlayStation 5 Pro controller, or the DualSense Pro, whatever you want to call it, will not be revealed at this event. This is what his sources have confirmed. It's just going to be the 3 new headsets and the 2 monitors, but there's also going to be a partnership between Sony and Valorant. And it's weird because you would think with that, it means Valorant's going to be coming to PS5, but his source apparently told him that no, it's not going to be revealed for PS5, at least not at this event. So yeah, this is the update I have for you, or the follow-up with this leak regarding new hardware. And so there we have it. There's going to be 3 new headsets, 2 new monitors, and it's going to be a little bit distance from PlayStation, but obviously still set to appeal to the PlayStation audience. Next up, we have a very interesting topic that I certainly have some thoughts on. Reading from Push Square, the title of this article says, Sony skipping Gamescom opening night live, no first party reveals. Now, at first glance, this might seem disappointing to some people, but I actually think this is a good thing, and I'll explain why when I'm done reading the information here. So they say here that Sony won't be making any first-party announcements during this year's Gamescom opening night live showcase, as the company confirms it will be skipping the event along with the convention itself. The event is hosted by Jeff Keighley, who recently managed to snag the exclusive Last of Us Part 1 reveal at Summer Game Fest. In the past, Sony has almost always had at least one big piece of news to share at the Gamescom show. Both Horizon Forbidden West and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart received release dates in previous showcases, and Death Stranding was also shown off in depth back in 2019. This year's event will mark the first time the hardware manufacturer has dropped its support entirely. And so, yeah, as you can see, it is a little bit strange to be seeing Sony dropping Gamescom in its entirety because of their history with it. And this might lead some people to immediately think, uh-oh, I guess this means Sony just doesn't have anything to show and they're going to be very quiet throughout the remainder of the year. But I actually see it in the opposite light. I think that this is actual, I don't want to say confirmation, because I don't want to say that. We need official confirmation from Sony. But what I will say is that this definitely makes me more confident that Sony is planning their own big showcase event in September, because something we have to pay attention to with Gamescom is the fact that it happens at the end of August. So if Sony is planning something of their own, something of significance, something big like everybody's hoping for, it makes complete sense why they're going to opt out of Gamescom and just simply save everything that they have to show and everything that they have to announce or want to announce for their own event, which will probably be happening just a couple weeks, maybe even 2 weeks after Gamescom. So I don't want to say again that this is confirmation, but it is, I think, a very good sign that Sony is planning their own event in September. We've been talking about this for a while. When you consider the fact that Sony did an event in September in 2020, 2021, I think it makes sense to expect something in 2022 as well. Some people might say, well, didn't Sony do a bigger event in June of 2020? They did, but we also have to keep in mind that that was the year that the PS5 was set to launch. So obviously it made sense for Sony to have a dedicated event just for the PS5 alone. So yeah, you guys can let me know your thoughts about this, because I'm feeling pretty confident that a showcase will go down in September. I know that I've been adamant about Sony doing something in June, but if you think about it, Sony's been doing a pretty good job in June. They had a state of play, which I think many would agree was awesome. They did a great job with that state of play. They announced The Last of Us Part 1 at Summer Game Fest, so it's not like Sony hasn't been doing anything. I think the only question that remains at this point is, what is Sony planning to do in July and August leading up to September? Well, we may have our answer, as Sony Santa Monica over on Twitter is teasing the entire God of War fan base. And it's funny because they just put this out as I was recording this video, and I was going to talk about how some people are now questioning whether or not we're going to have to wait till September to hear more about God of War Ragnarok, but it seems like that's not the case. Over on the official Santa Monica Studio Twitter, they say you'll get your answers, well, some of them anyway, where they are wishing a happy birthday to the individual who is playing Angerboda in God of War Ragnarok, and basically saying how they can't wait for fans to see their amazing performance. And, you know, I have to say that the timing of this is interesting, because we've been hearing that apparently Sony or Santa Monica Studio is set to reveal the release date of God of War Ragnarok at the end of this month, and it's June 22nd, so we are approaching that time. I'm reading this as a direct tease of a release date or possibly a state of play. And what I was going to say before I came across this tweet is that I absolutely do not think we are going to have to wait till September to hear more about God of War Ragnarok. As we know, Jason Schreier confirmed the internal release date is currently set for November. And even though some people are getting impatient, it's worth noting that we have some time before November. In fact, we have a lot of time. I mean, we have the remainder of June, we have all of July, August, September, right? That's a lot of time to build up the marketing for God of War Ragnarok. And so, are they teasing a state of play for next week or possibly the first week of June? Well, I think so. I don't think Santa Monica Studio is unaware of the type of responses they're going to garner with a tweet like this on June 22nd. So, yeah, here we are. We have confirmation that on June 28th, Sony's revealing some hardware. So that seems to be separate from PlayStation. We're hearing that Sony is not going to be attending Gamescom for what feels like the first time. So clearly, we know they're sitting on a lot. We know that they have a lot to show, a lot going on behind the scenes. In fact, I think Sony has way more going on behind the scenes than most people are aware of. And then to top it all off, we're eagerly awaiting more information and more news about God of War Ragnarok. Now, here's where I want to end this video. If you think about it, the way Sony is handling this, I think is the smartest possible way to do it. Because even though I thought that Sony may be doing a big showcase in June, it actually makes sense that they would want to kind of start out smaller and build up throughout the summer, leading to the big showcase. By Sony doing this, they're, I don't want to say necessarily dominating the conversation, but certainly making PlayStation relevant in the conversation, and more importantly, making sure that PlayStation is part of the conversation on a weekly basis, or at the very least, a bi-weekly basis, right? If they just do one big showcase in June, it's one big hoorah, and then that's it, right? The rest of June, it's just kind of quiet. So Sony seems to be doing their own thing now where it's like, you know what, let's do a state of play at the beginning of June. Let's give Jeff Keighley a little something with The Last of Us Part 1 reveal. And it wouldn't surprise me at this point in time if Sony is saving some big God of War reveals for July so that they can still kind of dominate the conversation all throughout July, and then they'll have all of August to kind of drip feed fans more information regarding God of War, and then maybe towards the end of August, the beginning of September, they announce the big showcase. Now, obviously, this is a ton of speculation on my part, but I just feel like when you look at the way these things are lining up, and you see how Sony is kind of navigating this, it becomes clear that, yeah, they don't have to go to Gamescom. Anything Sony does will command attention. That's where they are right now with the PlayStation brand. And I think they know that. And I think they're taking advantage of that, and they're trying to just be as strategic as they can, where again, it's all about dominating the conversation, or at the very least being a big part of the conversation on a practically weekly basis. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Obviously, I had a lot to say about these particular topics, but at this point, I'm going to ask you to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I will definitely be interested to see what you guys have to say. Again, leave the video a like if you enjoyed it or found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.